It's funny, I actually get this question a lot more from other coaches than I do from people who are actually seeking a coach. So, hello everybody, it's good to see you again. So, what should coaching cost? And if you're looking for a coach or you're looking for someone who can help advance you, well, first of all, I think everybody should have a coach. And I know in 2020, everybody pretty much became a coach and everybody started coaching each other's coaches. But, as we were going through the land of COVID. But when the reason why I think it, and there's plenty of people who agree with that. I know there's a book by Jack Canfield, which was one of my favorite books, actually. This is, probably should have grabbed it before, but it is The Success Principles. And this is probably one of my favorite ones just because, man, there's so many good little nuggets in here. And so I really do like that book. But one of the things in here he talks about is getting a coach. Tony Robbins talks about getting a coach. There's other coaches, books who I've read, the $1 Trillion Coach, which is actually about a coach and referencing the fact that other people should have coaches to help get them and advance them in a way that is going to get them to where they want to go a heck of a lot faster. And the reality is that when you have a coach, when you have someone help holding you accountable to things, it's not like the coach can hold you accountable, right? Like no one else can hold you accountable except yourself. I mean, you can accept the consequences. People's like, oh, you've never met my wife. Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, if you're willing to accept the consequences of the fallout of you going out and buying something that you didn't talk to her about first, and she's going to be upset about that, there are consequences to that, right? But at the end of the day, we can only hold ourselves accountable. So when you stop and think about having a coach that does help hold you accountable, that's really where I feel the line in the sand is with a good coach, is that they will hold you accountable. Like one of the things that I will say to my people before they engage with me, like, hey, they're like, hey, I want to hire you as my coach. And I am a strategist, but the methodology that I use is coaching. But they want to bring me on, as their strategist. And I say, all right, look, just understand if I don't hear from you, you are going to hear from me. Like, in other words, you don't get to hide from me. Like, I will call you, I will text you, I will mail you letters, I will show up on social media. I mean, sometimes if you're close enough, I will show up at your door. What's going on? And that is a very, very big difference where I feel like if you're not doing that and you're a coach, look, that's okay. Don't call yourself a coach, though. Call yourself a mentor. Call yourself a teacher. Call yourself a professor. Call yourself a guru. Call yourself anything other than a coach, because I believe truly that the line in the sand is that if you're going to be a coach, that you're signing on to hold others accountable to what they say they want, or the versions of themselves that you see in them. Sometimes they don't see that. But that's where I feel the true line in the sand is. So, do I have a coach? Actually, technically, no. By that standard, I have a mentor, and he does a good job for me, but he doesn't reach out. He will not reach out, and that's okay. I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad that he doesn't. But because I knew what I was signing up for. So this should bake into the cake in terms of what coaching should cost, and also what you should expect to get. So I know a very, very common thing right now is where it's like almost like people getting into coaching that like don't like to talk to people. I'm definitely on the other end of that spectrum. I love to talk to people. In fact, I need to talk with people. And I feel like if I don't talk with them, I don't really have a better understanding of in terms of what they need and where they're at and where they're trying to go. And, I say to my folks who I coach and who I work with that I don't just come on your front porch. I'm in your living room. I'm in your kitchen table. I'm in a non-creepy way. I see you when you're sleeping and I know when you're awake. That actually, I don't know, there's a non-creepy way to say that. But kidding aside, that's all, like, I really want to know all the different things that are important to you so I can coach you in the direction you want to go. If you say that family is important to you and all of a sudden you're making business decisions that are going to take you away from your family for months and months at a time, I'm going to challenge you on that. And that's just one example. So it's really important that I know all aspects of your life. That's why I'm a life and business strategist. I'm not a life coach, I'm not a business coach. I'm a strategist, and all things have to line up. So what should it cost? Well, it depends. It really depends on what objectives you're trying to reach. It really matters in terms of what you want your results to look like. So there are people who are really highly specific that work in a very specific area, and they charge high prices because they work in a very specific narrow area, and they're really good in one narrow area. Maybe it's accounting, maybe it's marketing, or lead generation, whatever that is. But maybe that in terms of coaching, or maybe they bring you a program or whatever else that is. So sometimes they can cost upwards of $50,000 or $100,000 for 6 months or a year. Am I here to criticize those amounts? No, because if they deliver, who am I to say that that's too much? I will say that as the prices come down, it is pretty typical to pay some sort of monthly thing. And that's generally what a model that a lot of coaches like to go to. And that can range from as little as $100 a month up to $2,000 or $3,000 a month and more. It just depends on what you're getting, and if you really feel that you're getting the traction. But here's what I think in terms of, what a coach should cost, but also what you should expect. This is important that you ask up front, like, will you call me? In other words, if you don't hear from me, will I hear from you? Will you call me out if I get lazy, or if I'm not doing the things that I want, or if I say I'm going to report my metrics and I don't, are you going to be in contact with me? And of course, they can't really hold yourselves. There may be consequences, and you can do this in a fun way. I had a coach that I worked with one time. He was my coach, and I sent him a check written out to, I'm not going to say who the political candidate was, but it was my absolute not my favorite political candidate. And I was more into politics back then, so it definitely more of an incentive. Now I'm becoming largely indifferent just because it's just so much nonsense right now. But I wrote out a check for $1,000 payable to that candidate's campaign, and they were going to post that check. They would have wiped out the check, the MICR number, but in the account number, but they would post that on my profile, and I could not explain why, if I did not get to what it was that I said I was going to do. So it was a fun way of holding me accountable. But again, that's consequences. That's not accountability. Accountability had to come from me, where I was doing the thing that I was going to say that I was going to do. So I can tell you, as the price tier comes down, and not necessarily, well, let me walk that back. It's not necessarily around price. I know that there's a lot of coaches who really don't want to do one-to-one coaching. They want to do group coaching only because they feel like that's scalable. So if they can get, 10, 100, 1,000 people on a call that they do once a week, or, once a month, that's the coaching program that they want to do. And that's fine. If that is what you're signing up for and you feel that the value is there, then that's fine. If you are going to be getting one-to-one coaching, how often will you get that? I know, again, there's a lot of programs where you may get the guru, but you only get 40 minutes with them maybe once a month. And maybe that's not every month. Maybe that's, only every couple of months. Or maybe you get assigned a different person who's a coach. And so maybe the guru is the name that you were signing up for, but you're actually getting one of their disciples, one of their students. So that's another question to ask. And again, how often do you get that? Do you get their cell phone? Do you get text support? Do you get other types of support that you might need in between coaching sessions or in between group coaching sessions? Some of them too will also wrap themselves into a mastermind. Now, if you've not been involved in a mastermind, man, they were really popular, and they're really powerful. A good mastermind, again, they're all run differently, but basically what I've generally seen is that you get a certain number of people in a room, and for a period of time, everybody pours into one person at a time in the meeting. So each person may get 30 minutes or an hour or whatever it is. Maybe they do that online. Maybe they do that physically in person. I have one where we meet physically in person, but I also do have like a mini mastermind during the week for specifically just for business owners. So in other words, if you're a W-2 employee, you're not invited to this. You have to be, the line in the sand there is, if you remember the inner circle, and you eat what you kill. So in other words, you have to be in business for yourself. You have to be the one that's generating your own revenue and your own income. So W-2 employees are not invited to that. And that's okay. That's important because, everybody in there has very, very similar, if not the same problems, even if they're not in the same industry. So those are the sorts of things that you can start to, what you should expect from a coaching program. Some have a video course, right? So many of them have courses, and they want you to go through the courses and contact them only if you have questions, right? So maybe you go through this built out course, which is maybe a 21-day course. And if you have any questions, reach out to the coach. Okay. I tend to go the other way. I actually have courses, but I want them to reach out to me because I think most of the value comes from when we have dialogue. And then if there's resources, that I send them to those resources and say, okay, go through the course, hammer in on that one section, whether it's lead generation or a sales function, or we'll just unpack different things based on what they specifically need. So is my approach unique? No, not at all. I take more of a consultative type approach to my coaching than I do, I would say consultative and teaching type approach than I do with necessarily, giving rah and pumping them up and telling them that they're great, which I do as well, because we all need encouragement. We all need that build up. But realistically, I would much rather people reach out to me. We have the coaching sessions, and they do the group sessions, and they do the coursework as well. The people that I have seen that have gotten the most amount of traction in at least in my inner circle, are the ones who are as engaged as they can be, as much as possible, with the masterminds, with the one-to-one coachings, with any master classes that I teach and host. They're taking full advantage of it as much as they possibly can. But that said, they also have to leave enough time. They have to have enough bandwidth to do their actual work and to do the work on the stuff that they need to work on while they're not being coached by me. So it's a commitment. It's a real commitment. So if you are looking to sign up with a coach and they're asking for thousands of dollars a month, make sure that you actually have the ability not just to pay for it, but you actually have the ability to do the coaching, and you have the coaching, you have the time on the other side of the coaching to do and implement the stuff that they're telling you about, right? Because if you don't have that time, then these sessions are just going to become wasted. You're not going to be getting the full use and full value of them. So that's pretty much it. I think that I've pretty much covered all of those different areas about what coaching should cost, what you should expect. And in one real quick thing, if you'd like to head over to strategicboardroom.com, there are some resources there that may help you with this. This not necessarily the specific question, but specific questions that you, as the business owner, operator, private business owner, family business owner, small business owner, or business owners of any size, head on over there and you should be able to find some more resources that can help you out. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. See you guys next time.